Alright. Earth, fire, wind, air. Wait. No. Water. Ah. These were. Anyway, you get the whole point of the story. Look. Scene, whatever you want to call it, done with Avatar the Last Airbender, the live show on Netflix. And it's just funny since seeing everybody's reaction online and stuff like that. But online is always a mixed bag. Hell, talking to anybody is always a mixed bag. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. I give it probably I give it a B. I was like, just from my own points of there's good things. I think there's more good things about it than the bad. I was like, I like something that I think that that I like that they did. I think I liked a lot of their, I guess liberties with stuff, or just being able to tell their own version of things. And by that, I mean like the first episode, you come around the gate of the Earth. I was like the guy from the Earth, uh, bending, taking a scroll from the Fire Nation and all that other stuff that we didn't get in the show. Um, I was like the whole. I'm pretty sure what also in the show where they show the Fire Nation attacking uh the Airbender, not at least not the way that they did it. I remember they went up there with the airships, but uh this one would seem like a more like a direct attack, but it was still like they went and got them first. Um, yeah, stuff like that I was totally fine with. Even I was like I was like the way I guess they did with some characters, I guess it's hit or miss. Like for instance, I like the guy that played Zuko. I thought Zuko was done fairly well. I was like I was like you could tell like he was like a brat a bit, but also I mean, but you could tell like he's. I was like yes, he look like Zuko's always been like a really strong, tough guy, but is very vulnerable, but doesn't know how to express his emotions. But if you know his backstory, of course, it kind of can't when when his own dad burned him in the face. Which I also like how they did that as well with the Agni Kai, and they actually showed the dad searing him in the face and just a full on blast. Um, yeah, but I was like I like the portrayal of Zuko. I thought the granddad was also really well considering all things, because I was like, you're not going to be iroh from this TV show. You're not. That was a great portrayal from the voice actor to I was like to the actual drawing and and the words that was needed to, and the inflection. I was like, you're just not gonna beat that. But I think that this grandpa does a really good job of doing that, where you're like, oh, I see, I just got on grandpa. I was like, it ain't my grandpa, but you all feel like it's your grandpa. I was like, I thought he played it fairly well. I was like, ozai. I thought they got that one was the one where I was like, they got that one dead on. I think of all of them, that's the one that's dead on. Like the look, the menacing, not accepting kind of way that he is. I was like, I thought they got that guy point. Um, Sokka, cause some of this is also the looks of the people, while also the way they talk and all that other stuff. So I think that's sort of that's all taken into it. I do think that I was like, as far as looks, I was like, I think for the most part they got pretty much the character looking really well. I was like Sokka looked like sort of Sokka, and I think Katara really, I was like looked fairly close to Katara. Of course they ain't got to be exact, but still. Um, but I was like, it's a TV show, so I mean, it's a TV format, so therefore you can't go full in depth like you can with the cartoon. But I was like Sokka was like pretty much there for a good point. I would say like a good 78%. I was like, that's Sokka. I was like, they didn't have him be. He wasn't overly goofy, but he also, but he was a little bit like weird. And I was like, so that's cool. I wish they would have had him be a little bit more of a gooseball. I was like, the portrayal of I was like, of him being like a warrior to like other people. I don't know if they did that fairly well, because I was like, he was really quick to accept that. I was like, he wasn't a warrior. Where I was like, he put up more of a fight in the cartoon. Like when he went up against the Kyoshi Warriors, I was like, it took him a while. Like, he had to really get his ass beat and handed to him, and he was like, he admitted defeat and like, I'll learn your ways. Where this one, it really was just like, he just like sort of was tepid, and he just sort of seemed like, oh, they're better than me, never mind. And then he basically immediately sort of just like trained me, kind of thing. So I like Katara. I was like, I think that was, I think that was pretty close on it. I was like, I felt at times like she wasn't as assertive as she is in the cartoon, because I'm like, when she set her mind on things, I was like, no, she got a head full of steam, and she's like really determined, and she bowed it in a lot of ways. Where this one was a lot more, I guess maybe I was like don't get me wrong, she was. I was like, she was when she was like, like when they was at the Water Kingdom in the north, and it's like, oh, you don't let women do the water bending. She was determined there, but I guess attitude, I guess, is the wrong word, but she was as flippant, I guess, in a way. So there was like times like that, but I was like, but I also wonder too if it's almost like they made Qatar be a little bit more not childlike or whatever, but uh, she get to be more young. Whereas like on the flip side with Aang, he was a lot like he wasn't goofy or wild or have carefree or fun. He was his optimistic, like overly optimistic self of things, of where it was just like, like that one like that really, like, it's like so overly righteous that's like, okay, we get it, you're a goody two shoes, everything in the world should be like this harmony. But I didn't get the fact that I was like, he was a kid with it, and it was like he very quickly was just like, oh, I understand, I gotta do these things. I was like, it was he even had it in the tones that would seem like very pessimistic when it was talking. It was really odd, with how he was in his demeanor. It's almost like when you talk to a kid that's like, it's like they're really conscious at a really early age, where it's just like, I was like, oh, what, you ask this kid like, hey, what's going on today? And it's like, oh no, I'm painting rainbows, cool. Oh, what are you doing today? And it's like, oh, my dolls or something. And it's like, look at my figures. And then the other one's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm just over here wondering how long it's gonna take for, as I get older, to realize that the world ain't. And you're like, oh my God, you're 6. What happened? That's how Aang feels, and I get it. He has the pressure of basically becoming an avatar, starting this whole thing. I was like, he was frozen in the block, left his people to die, and all this other stuff. I understand he got a weight on his shoulders, but in the cartoon, he still was able to balance out. It's like, I know I gotta do all these things, but you want to see what I can do? Like, he was still doing that. The relationship between like them and Boomy, it wasn't as fun. It was real, like, this would really seem like Boomy been through 100-year long war. That's how it felt. And it's like, I get it. Like, when you've been through something like that, I get it that you would be hard in the way you are. But I was like, he wasn't really having no time for Aang games at all until like the last little bit, when they're doing like the little thing, and I was like, just going out to shoot. That's about it. But I did like how they kept the guy with the cabbage. They kept the cabbage joke in there. I liked the whole with Jet and his rebels. I was like that was good. I like that group. I can't think of them, but the dad and the son that's in the that do all the mastermind thinking and stuff. I was like I liked that. I was like they were really good. They was on point. Which it took me a minute, but I was like, yo, that Abed. Oh man, that's Abed. Yeah. Azula was also off, and Azula May and I can't remember. I can't remember the chick that can stop you from bending, but I guess the casting of them looked off to me. So I was like, that was sort of something, but that's sort of like a little small part where it's like, okay, but I guess that we didn't have interaction with them to really feel anything. And Azula, I didn't really get that she's off her rocker. I didn't like they really try to make. I really felt like they try to make her sympathetic in a way of trying to be like, oh, like her dad is overbearing and he just keeps pushing you, and when he doesn't have to, like this ain't right. You shouldn't do this. When the cartoon is like, no, she's the one that's overbearing and she's the one pushing. And yes, she wants her dad's approval of things, but I'm like, she is also making it a thing as well too, or whatnot. And I felt like, and I was like, I didn't feel it, and I don't think we like she took over uh Omashu, but we didn't see it, so therefore it was. And I felt like we got a little bit more of Azula through the cartoon by that point to feel like, oh, she's a threat and she crazy, and I mean like crazy, like like you could tell like yes in the show she had some social issues and stuff like that where you could tell like she didn't understand the back and forth of I guess being a friend and all that other type of thing. It was all for her personal gain. Whereas like in the TV show, I'm like, she's not supposed to be like the cheerleader, hot girl, pretty girl, bully girl that you realize like, oh, her house is really bad and that's why she had like that. It's like, no, it's kind of her too. She a little bit out there. Um, yeah, but I was like, overall, I was like, yes, did they take some liberty with stuff? I was like, yes, but I don't think it was to the detriment of the show. I think really what the detriment to the show was that it was 8 episodes. Like to me, this should have been something that was at least like 13. Like yes, we didn't need to have like the whole every episode for the book or stuff like that. Like some of that stuff filler, of course, but well, I mean, it's filler as far as like what you need for a show, but what you could do with a cartoon. But I was like, no, but it was overall great. I just think it was just too fast and swift to overlook a lot of things that you need for when you got the book. Like the whole thing with the people with the changing faces, like that thing, like was that was a bit different than what the show was. I was like, that seemed like I mean, it wasn't like it was like 4 episodes, nothing like that. But I think the story, but I remember the story being different. Him getting the faces and stuff like that, and how to beat him with the faces. But maybe that's just me. Um, yeah, I was like some characters. I think it's just like Aang. I think was just it's just too serious. I was like, Sokka's not serious, but he's not fun either. Like like he should be a little bit of goof. Uh, yeah, so I was like, so from that standpoint, but the story I think is fine, and all, and their journey and it's good, and I'm willing to see because I'm waiting to see Toph and the guy with the eye that's gonna be blasting them. Um, to see Azula interact with all of them. Which the girl that played I can't think of off the top of my head, but the girl that had the little smelling little anteater looking dude creature. I like that she was on point. I liked her. She was good. Um, yeah. As far as like some of the other characters, in there, I was like everybody did their part from there a little bit, and from the Northerners with the tribe. I thought the the moon. I was like the whole moon episode where they like killed the fish and stuff like that. That was a really dope episode. I was like the princess. I was like she played the part and she was good in that as well. Um, yeah, no, I was like, but the main part that I'm like can overtake a lot of things, or the main thing that what I needed to know if I was gonna watch this or not, or I was gonna watch it regardless. What basically the bending. The bending was great. The graphics for that was good and great. I was like the movements and how they were doing it, and when I was like, once I seen the bending was tops, I was like, I could deal with anything else. I was like, these people don't really look like how it does in the cartoon. I'm not saying that they got to be on point. I'm just saying like I'll say like the faces. I was like, you could tell I was like, oh, they got a slender face, but they got a round face here, or things like that. I was like, that thing just sort of got me off. Or where it was, I'm like, yeah, but that was like he looks like a physical presence. Where he looks a little bit, I was like he looks a little bit like Kid Dopey kind of thing. Like how Kid got like a little baby fat, that type of thing on him. But no, I was like the bending was there, and I was like the story was good, and I was like, and I seen people talk about like the looks of like the people, like I guess like the outfits and stuff, and I'm like, it looks. I was like, they're like, it looks like cosplay, and I'm like, to me that sounds like it looks realistic than it looks like something fake. I'm like, it looks like they made that themselves than something that I'm like, okay, this definitely look like a movie kind of thing where like it's like nobody wears that. If they was gonna really do that, it's like they just got on what they thought they seen in other movies kind of thing. But overall, good show, good series. Waiting to see what they do for the next set books or whatever, and how that goes. Anyway, how do you like the whole Avatar the Last Airbender? I want to hear how you going to talk about it, because it seemed like everything else, you got a side and you're gonna either dump on it or you're gonna love it or whatever. And I was like, look, that's what we here for, and that's what we want to talk about. But until then, next time.